You're listening to Hotepish with your host, DwannBrown. Intelligent shit talk, where we balance the profound with the profane. Political satire, celebrity and expert guests, information and entertainment, conversation and solutions. Leave your feelings at the door.
What up, y'all? We are here. This is a collab between Hotepish, Intelligent Ish Talk, and Incense and Ashtrays. Music talk for your ass. We are here. Today's topic, celebrating our music, celebrating our shit. You gotta celebrate our shit. You right, Dwayne Isaacs? Yes, they put pride on Black Music Month because they always gotta put they shit on top of our shit, acting as if we the ones with shit dick. No, that's y'all, motherfucker. And no disrespect to those who are out there on Dookie Patrol. No disrespect at all. This isn't an individual thing. This is about the group. Yeah, they trying to make Black Music Month Pride Month, but we ain't gonna let that happen. They can do what they do, but that means we just have to go harder at what we do. So we got to make sure we celebrate Black Music Month and our contributions to this nation. What's up, Mike Will? Mike L. What's up, Courtney G? Tommy Otto, Dwayne Isaacs. Yep, we are in here. What's up, Trace Richardson from Buffalo, New York? Rick Jamestown. What's up, Remy? What's up, Space Age for Life? We are here. We are talking about celebrating our shit. Celebrating our music. For those who don't know, June is Black Music Month. It was officially dedicated Black Music Month in 1978 by President Jimmy Carter. And, I'm sorry, 1979. Which was actually 1979, the last year of pure black music before they started infusing that 80s sound where they started messing up our sound with these other instruments. It's crazy how they do that, ain't it? They anytime they put a marker in the ground, quote unquote, celebrating us, it's usually at the moment they really fucking us over. Like in South LA, South Central LA, they want to now start putting murals up all up and through Crenshaw as they take Crenshaw from Black America, from Black LA. It's kind of what they do. But regardless of what they do, we still can take from of it something constructive and something that's going to grow, help. We can still take that from this. We can still do that. Because we as black people, we have created so much. We very rarely take the time to look back at our creations with appreciation. Oftentimes because we didn't know we created it. And other times because black folks tend to repeat whatever Europeans say. So if Europeans don't validate it, we don't validate it. And that's something we as a people have to get over. We cannot wait on them to celebrate us. We have to celebrate ourselves. Shouts out to all the people out there who purchased the book, No Time to Waste, a self-motivation guidebook. Y'all still buying the book, and I'm getting a lot of good reviews on it, man. That shit's so goddamn humbling. And it feels so good. Because the whole point of my book is to help people. So when I see people coming back to me talking about how much my book helped them, that feels really good. So I appreciate everyone who's bought the book, No Time to Waste. I appreciate everybody who's bought the t-shirts and my live drum sample packs. I'm going to be going harder with the live drum sample packs pretty soon. I got a couple more sessions that I did that aren't out yet. But when they come out, I'm going to be pushing y'all music producers to get some. Yeah. What's up, Evan? What's up, B. Johnson? What's up, Mike L? Yeah. Teresa Richardson asks, what's my favorite era of music? The 1970s, by far. '70s by far, because the 1970s was the last time black music on the R&B, on the live music side of the game was untouched. As far as hip hop goes, the 90s is my favorite era of hip hop, because hip hop went untouched until about 93. 93 is when that shit started to flip. And then by the time 97, 98 came around, still in 98, you still had some top shit because you had DMX on top. But by the time 2000 came around, hip hop was totally compromised, especially the hip hop that's on the radio. But the 70s is the greatest era of music. Greatest era of music. Jonathan S. said, you see some feeling, I'm not going to say their name, you see is against black people and he's still in it for apology. Yeah. There's been some bitch ass shit going on online. Salute to Craig and Craig Facts. Salute to Kamira and Precious and ODH, On These Hoes podcast. Sisters got their joke stolen by some brothers who gave it to a sister. And now the people who stole the joke are running around playing victim. I don't respect it. I don't respect it at all. But what else can you expect from a group of black dudes who talked about stop Asian hate, but don't have a goddamn thing to say when black people get screwed over? What else can you expect from them kind of niggas? I don't expect accountability from Negro puppets. I'm not going to get too much into that. For those who want to know more about that, watch this past Thursday's episode of Craig Facts. Craig Smith's YouTube page with a K. If you look on my page, I have some recommended channels on my page. His is one of them. But yeah, the 70s easy to me. Let's get into it a little bit. The 70s is the greatest era of music. Why? Because the 1970s is when all black music was a culmination of all black music. When we talk black music, we got to start in the gospel. The gospel, the church, is where black people have been allowed to maintain the sound that we had during and before slavery. We took our music, put a few Bible verses on it to sneak it past the overseers, and put messages within it. And from the Bible church music, we got the blues. And on one side of the game, you had the blues. On the other side, you had ragtime. Go back to the early 1900s. You have ragtime. Scott Joplin. Anytime you watch like an old documentary on things around the turn of the century, the turn of the 20th century, usually the music that they have playing in the background is ragtime. And the first big hit at the turn of the century was a song called Maple Leaf Rag by Scott Joplin. Ragtime, black music has always, American music, I should say, has always, let me say it one more time, always been black. There's never been a time in American music where we weren't the people creating the sound. Here's a picture of Scott Joplin. He created the sound that would 20 years later in the 1920s evolve into jazz. Jazz was the sound of the 1920s and 1930s. Louis Armstrong was the man that popularized jazz. Satchmo. That's why the New Orleans airport is called the Louis Armstrong Airport. Popularized jazz when he left New Orleans, went up to Kansas City, then to New York. And during the early eras of jazz, black people were allowed, that's something that was an economy for us. Because society had, for the most part, X'd us out of the economy. We were no longer allowed to work government jobs and be supervisors. See, people forget. They think that this country was always segregated when it came to jobs. It wasn't until Woodrow Wilson in the 19 teens came around and wrote a law taking black people out of government jobs and said a black person can't be a supervisor over a white person. That was Woodrow Wilson during the 19-teens. Black people had, for the most part, been chased out of the South because, again, Woodrow Wilson in that Birth of a Nation movie rebirthed the Klan. So there was no very little economic opportunity for us. So we had to go to the big cities, whether that be Kansas City, New York, Detroit, Chicago. You know the cities. In those cities where there was little to no opportunity for us, we had jazz. When rent was short, we could throw a rent party with a live band. Everyone pay a nickel or a quarter or 50 cents or whatever to get in. And your rent's paid by the end of the night. From jazz, improv, small band jazz, we get the big band jazz. Duke Ellington, Count Basie. Where you have the big sound. Orchestra. Charlie Parker, when he did his jazz orchestra album. Out of that, along at the same time, you get the blues sound. White folks always celebrate Robert Johnson as the man who created basically the sound that became the blues. Little known fact, well, sort of known fact, Robert Johnson never lived to see his greatness exalted. He was dead long before he became popular. They sort of celebrated him after. Oh shit, wrong line. It's the wrong picture. And from Robert Johnson, but tell you the truth, Robert Johnson got his sound, the most popular man in America during the 1920s. When it came to music, wasn't Robert Johnson. Even though he celebrated the most, it was a brother named P.D. Wheatstraw. That's Robert Johnson on camera right there. I'm going to get around to how we get now. I'm just setting the table, setting the foundation. Everybody be patient. I'm going to get into some of the stuff to how we get through now. I'm just setting the foundation of the evolution of American music and how it was us creating it all. Then we're going to talk about the economy around our music, how others benefit from it, and we're going to end it talking about how we can take control back and keep it in-house and save ourselves. We had Robert Johnson. Somebody said like Dolomite. No, not like the Dolomite movie. P.D. Wheatstraw, that the character that Dolomite used, P.D. Wheatstraw, he was taking the name of the original artist, P.D. Wheatstraw. People know about the Dolomite P.D. Wheatstraw, but he was basically taking a name similar to how Nipsey Hussle took Nipsey Russell's name. It was an homage. To the real P.D. Wheatstraw, who was the most popular artist in America during his time. Again, black music. That's P.D. Wheatstraw right there. Y'all see him? You see him with that guitar? Because the guitar is our instrument. That's our shit. from Petey Wheatstraw and the blues sound, you now, in the early 1950s, you get the first rock and roll album, which is a combination of the blues, which is basically the blues sped up, by Ike Turner, 1951. The album called Rocket 88. It's the first rock and roll album. And then as we go along, we get a man by the name of Ray Charles. And Ray Charles was the first to combine the elements of jazz with the elements of blues, birthing a sound called soul music, where you take the blues, you take jazz, and you take rock and roll and put it all into a soup. And you got soul music. And then as you get into the 50s, you got doo-wop. What's up, Ali Hemmett? What's up, Star? No, Reggie, she did not start rock and roll. You talking about Sister Rosetta Tharpe. She's one of the greatest guitarists. She played that rock and roll guitar, but she was playing, it was a lot of these things going on at once. That's why I said the first rock and roll album released was Rocket 88 by Ike Turner. See, there was no one black person that did all these things. Well, only thing we can celebrate are the first black people to put it on wax and record it, because we as black folks know we got so much goddamn talent. We got so much talent. It's very hard to push it to one person. That's really a European mindset, putting everything on one person. And there are certain things that go on one person, like Louis Armstrong really was the one that popularized improvisation. And he played the trumpet in a way that, with a power that no one else had done before. So every now and again you do get some, but for the most part, there are a few black people doing the same thing at the same time. Like Chuck Berry and Little Richard were doing their thing at the same time. You dig what I'm saying? So as we get into the 50s, we get into doo-wop. And then we get a brother named Jackie Wilson. You'd better stop, yeah, dogging me around. Baby, work out. We get Jackie Wilson. And if you want to understand James Brown, you got to know Jackie Wilson. If you want to understand Michael Jackson, you got to know Jackie Wilson. There is no understanding our music. And I keep getting these damn, man, I'm trying to get y'all a picture. Let me get a different picture. See if this picture works. Trying to get y'all a picture of Jackie Wilson. We get Jackie Wilson. And Jackie Wilson basically financed Motown. I'm having a difficult time just simply pulling up a goddamn picture. Shit. There we go. That's Jackie Wilson. Jackie Wilson, we get basically the person that helped put Motown on. Why? How did he help put Motown on? Because it was Jackie Wilson that Berry Gordy wrote for. Berry Gordy got his start in music writing for Jackie Wilson. And those hits that he wrote is basically what gave him the money to start Motown. And we know the Motown sound. But at the same time Motown was going on, a little bit later we had Stax Records. Stax, where they had Otis Redding, Isaac Hayes and Porter. So many legends. Which was more a gritty sound, gritty, soulful sound. If you want to know more about Stax Records, go to my interview with the great Mr. Bobby Rush, where we talked about that. But Motown was more of the sound of pop, and Stax was the sound of soul, just gritty soul. And then from Stax, out of Stax, after that we get the Philadelphia sound that comes out of Philadelphia and Philadelphia soul. So when we reach the 1970s, the 1970s was the decade that every previous form of American music was represented and still going strong. And you had a new sound, a few new sounds that combined all previous sounds into one sound. And that sound is called the funk and 70s soul. The funk and 70s soul. Because when you get to 70s soul, when you listen to whether it be the Whispers or the Temptations or the Dramatics, you have the doo-wop groups with the soulful bands and gospel background singing. Everything put into one. And then when you get to the funk, which was started, three primary places is where the roots of funk comes from, three primary musicians. Sly and the Family Stone, the late 60s out of the Bay Area. Because in Sly and the Family Stone, you get, someone just hit a thumbs down. That means he must hear his mama getting banged out by the neighborhood postal worker in the other room. So somebody thumbs down the video because they mad at me because they hear their mama getting banged out by the post worker while daddy at work. It's all good. Shouts out to the 54 likes. Hey, we got a lot of people in here, man. Y'all need more. I need more likes than that shit. Well, anyway, we get into the funk. And that's where you get a band known as Sly and the Family Stone. Sly and the Family Stone was the first band in American music history that combined men and women, white and black. That's where we get out of the Bay Area. And if you look on this picture right here, salute to Sly Stone, still alive. To the right, in the all yellow, you have Mr. Larry Graham. Who is Larry Graham? Glad you asked. Larry Graham is dun 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 Drake's uncle. Yes, Drake, the very popular artist of today, Drake. Y'all all seen pictures of Drake's dad looking like a pimp daddy? Well, his uncle is Larry Graham. And from Larry Graham, we get the slap bass. First featured in the song Smash It. Thank you for letting me be myself again. Boom, 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 boom. Before Larry Graham, nobody played that slap bass. He brought it in. The slap, which is an essential sound to American music today, is how Flea from the Chili Peppers made his sound, off slapping the bass. That's West Coast funk from Sly and the Family Stone. And then we go to the godfather of funk, Mr. James Brown. James Brown is the man that took the sound and put that accent on the one. He put the accent on the one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Get up off of that thing and dance to you feel better. Get up off of that thing. That's what we mean by the one. Accent the one heavy. Play what you want in between, but come back on the one. James Brown, whose primary influence and style was none other than Jackie Wilson. Nowhere yet have I mentioned a white artist, a people of color artist, or anyone else that claims our music. There are no Dominicans here. There are no Caribbeans. None of these other people who claim to be foundations of hip hop. Nowhere have I mentioned any of these people. Why? Because they didn't do shit to found and create anything of ours. James Brown is where you get Michael Jackson, his style on stage in a lot of ways. Out of the James Brown sound, out of that school of music, you get one of my favorite bands of all time. I like all these bands that I'm talking about, by the way. There's not one that I don't like. But out of that sound, you get the P-Funk. Parliament Funkadelic. Where they took the James Brown sound and made it bigger. How did the Funkadelics take the James Brown sound? It started by taking James Brown's musicians. James Brown, on his egotistical shit like he was always known to be, fired his musicians. He fired Maceo, Fred Wesley, when they demanded more money. Called in his backup band that was Bootsy Collins and Bootsy Collins' older brother Catfish. And they played with James Brown for about 11 months. And then when they got tired of James and stuff, when James got tired of them, because they was always goofing off, they went and joined Parliament Funkadelic. Parliament Funkadelic, the original Parliaments was a doo-wop band in the 1960s. Rock and roll band in the early 1970s. And then when Bootsy came and brought along Fred Wesley and Maceo Parker, you get the funk. The funk is where you're going to get jazz-style horn arrangements, rock and roll sound guitar, doo-wop music harmonies, all combined into one sound. And it was out of the funk that we got hip hop. Remember, hip hop is a child of the funk. Other sounds going along in the 70s, a more popular sound during its time, didn't last as long as the funk, was disco. Contrary to what they try to tell you, disco was a black sound. Let me say that again. Disco was a black sound. The first credited disco song ever was Love's Theme by none other than Barry White. See, they try to tell you that Barry White, just sung love music, and he did. He was one of the greatest ever at love music. But they always seem to forget that his sound is the basis for disco. Go back to Love's Theme. Dun, 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 dun. Man, shit. Barry White, who lived in LA at the time, raised in LA, born in Galveston, I think, either Galveston or Houston, but either somewhere down there, but raised in LA, was a gangster. Barry White was known for stealing hubcaps. Quick Barry White story. My father-in-law, who was one of the greatest music producers of all time, James Carmichael, easily one of the greatest music producers ever. I put my father-in-law's music next to anybody's music. He did a lot of music. He was there early on with Michael Jackson. He was Michael Jackson's vocal coach on I'll Be There. And he wrote those arrangements for Michael Jackson's first solo album as a kid. That was him that wrote those horn, orchestra, and band arrangements by hand. That was him who discovered the Commodores and made every hit produced every hit the Commodores had, including Brick House, and every song Lionel Richie ever made that charted, including All Night Long. That's all my father-in-law. That's why this shit's personal to me when it comes to restoring and preserving our music. When we talk about preserving our music, we talking about family here for me. But he told me a story about working. He used to work with Barry White before Barry White hooked up with Gene Page. Barry White did the majority of his hits with Gene Page. But before Barry White started doing music on his own, he was a studio musician. And he said Barry White used to bring a pistol to every session. And if you kept fucking up, Barry White was going to pull that gun out on your ass. Like, bitch, this studio time is expensive. You better hit them notes. For all of the love music that Barry White wrote, for all of the incredible vibes and love, Barry White was a gangster. Barry White, with his grand orchestral arrangements, he and Isaac Hayes. See, Isaac Hayes was the one that brought in those huge, big intros. What's up, Chubby, in the chat room? A long time, my brother. Good to see you in the chat room, my man. But yeah, Barry White used to keep a gat on his ass. And he told me that, my father-in-law told me that there was this one session in particular that there was a musician that kept running his mouth and wasn't getting nothing right. And Barry White told him, hey man, stop fucking around, stop playing. He wouldn't stop playing, so Barry White picked the nigga up and slammed him through my father-in-law's piano bench. Barry White did not fuck around. Again, no mention of any white, and this isn't to be racist, this is to tell the truth. Because I see a lot of people talking about this whole critical race theory. And I don't give a fuck about no damn critical race theory, because racism isn't a theory. The fact that the way they frame it, critical race theory, they're telling you right off the bat that this is just a theory. No, we don't need no damn theories. All we gotta do is teach history. Black folks don't need not one theory. Just tell the truth and make it plain. That's all the fuck we need. We don't need no critical race theory. We just need to tell the truth. Out of disco, we get bumpy knuckles and the house sound. House music, electronica. That's black folks. Out of funkadelic, we get heavy metal. No head, no backstage pass. Go and listen to that song. If you want to know where 80s metal came from, go listen to early funkadelic. Eddie Hazel on the guitar. Again, no mention of people of color, minorities, all these other groups that try to jump in and claim our shit. We got to know where our shit comes from. We got to know these things. And out of disco and funk, we get hip hop. The first hip hop song, Rapper's Delight, the music was a cover of Chic. Again, black band. Nowhere Yet have we found any other groups contributing to what we started? Thanks, M. Moses. No, I cannot forget Jimi Hendrix. My bad. Jimi Hendrix. But when you listen to Jimi Hendrix, if you in order to understand Jimi Hendrix sound, you got to understand Muddy Waters. Because Jimi Hendrix guitar, especially early in Jimmy's career, he just played what Muddy Waters played, but with a louder amp. There was somebody I was just about to go into it. Someone said, beat me to it in the chat room. When you go into punk rock, bad brains, black group. Again, we're not finding any others involved in none of this shit. Nobody. We created. They claim jump it. And then from the funk, from disco, we get a sound created by the baddest, coldest motherfucker of all time. None other than the great, late Michael Jackson. See, Michael was so great. They didn't want to fuck up their lie. What lie? The lie being that Elvis is the king. They call Elvis the king. You know that lie. But one thing I appreciate about white folks is they're not going to bump their heroes to the side for nobody. Niggas do that shit real fast. Niggas be quick to bump somebody else to the side. Like you heard Michael Eric Dyson clown ass a few years ago trying to say that Beyonce's taking Michael Jackson's spot. You don't get the fuck out of here, nigga. But there was no sound known as pop before Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson's king shit was so on point, they couldn't deny that he was the king. But they said, we're not going to bump Elvis to the side. He's white. We'll just create a whole new category. And that new category is called pop. But understand, pop is funk. That's what pop is. Pop is popular funk. Funk played on the radio to a mass audience. How do we know Michael Jackson is funk? Look at the band. Look at the list of musicians that he played with to make that original Off the Wall album, then Beat It album. You had, when you're dealing with Off the Wall and Thriller, you had George Duke on the keys. That's funk. You had Joe Sample. You had Greg Fillinganes. On bass, you had Louis Johnson from the Brothers Johnson. That's funk. You had Tom Ford arranging the horns. That's funk. Tom Ford got famous arranging horns for Earth and Fire. Larry Carlton on guitar. Funk. Don't ever let them change where this shit came from. Don't ever let them do that. Paul Jackson Jr. on guitar, funk. Ndugu Chancellor on drums, funk. These were the people that went into the sound that created the Michael Jackson sound. Nowhere in the sound do you hear them. Now, they did have Rod Temperton writing music, but Rod Temperton was one of those rare white boys, but he was also from the UK, whose band Heatwave was a funk band. This is our shit. So, out of these sounds, you get the hip hop sound. Hip hop is based on the funk. It's based on disco. It's based on doo-wop. It's based on blues. It's based on jazz. It's based on gospel. Those are the bricks of the foundation of hip hop. Not dancehall. Not none of those island sounds. Not a goddamn thing from Puerto Rico. And this is no disrespect to those people, but if y'all not gonna police your people, we gonna have to police them motherfuckers ourselves. Y'all didn't give a shit. To turn around and say because someone from Jamaica brought in a bunch of speakers to a part, oh, that's your contribution? It was a lot of those parties going on in New York at that time. And even when you listen to them talk about it, Kool Herc talked about wasn't nobody trying to listen to the music from where he came from. He brought them big ass speakers to play funk. And you had a DJ and an MC rhyming and talking over funk. Let's go back to the MC. The whole MC where it comes to rapping and dapping and doo-wopping and hip-hopping, that comes from the radio. Black DJs introducing jazz, specifically out of Kansas City. And then Washington, D.C. And then later New York. Ain't no time for stopping. We ribbit rapping and hip hopping. Come playing on the radio next. The Last Poets. That's what our DJs would do. So basically, when you talk about the party that they say started hip hop, it was just a bunch of people doing what niggas have been doing. They say, oh, b-boy and dance is a part of hip hop. Dance is a part of every black form of music. Gospel has its own dance. Y'all see that shit in church when Sister Alma be doing that church, the church, I call it the church crip walk. Blues has its own dance. Pull out the white handkerchief and shake it. R&B has its own dance. Every form of black music has had a dance. So, of course, hip hop is going to have a dance because every form of music we created here in America had a dance to go along with it too. Nigga. We gotta own and be unapologetic about owning and controlling our shit. We've created too much to allow these people to come in and lay claim to what we created. American music is our shit. And did you know? And did you know that according to them, of course it's bigger, but according to them, hip hop is America's #2 export. But really it's #1 because they just try to clean it down to hip hop. When you include all the music, our culture is the #1 thing America exports to the rest of the world. So now you got Asians playing our shit, trying to claim our shit. You got white folks thinking that they the ones that's claiming country music and claiming heavy metal and claiming rock. Didn't invent shit. We got to own this, people. And we have to do this unapologetically. Because look at where we are as a people. Our music has been our saving grace during this hell called America over the last 100 years. Our music is what's created an economy for us to get ourselves out the slums. The problem is the people that we've allowed in our house have been trying to take it over. And they do what our music, what they would never allow us to do with theirs. We got white folks and these other people. Think about this. When it comes to our music, what gets played on every TV commercial? Our music. I was working at this radio station about 3 years ago. It was like a little AM radio station. The show was like from midnight to 2 a.m. on a Friday night / Saturday morning. And it was like kind of an old school station. Shouts out to Larry Wynn. I engineered the show for the man. This is where I was really learning the ropes of how radio works. I engineered the sound and I would also work his camera. And I'll never forget this time we were promoting some show with these Asians. It was like a show. The headliner of that show was the Jets. Remember that group, the Jets from the 80s? Got to get over him. You got it over him. Honey, it's true. There's just you. Remember that song? Well, we sponsored a concert by them that was put on by this Asian group that was basically like an Asian Day program. And during the program, they had a whole bunch of people who sang, did music, blase, blase, blase. But all the music that they did was black music. It was nothing. They had like an Asian rapper, basically Asian hip hop and Asian R&B. But I'll never forget when they walked in the studio, they was giving me the biggest stank eye you could ever give somebody. Looking at me like, why are you here? What are you doing? I'm over here since I work for the radio station trying to be nice and accommodating. Like, hey, you guys sit here. Here's your mic, blah, blah, blah. And they looking at me like I got dust on my nose. And when they were promoting the show, they had come like 4 weeks in a row to promote the show on the radio station. 4 straight weeks they had come, sending a different artist that was going to be on the show to promote the show. And each time, they were looking at me funny. So when the 4th week came, I'm like, man, damn this radio show. That lady gave me a stank eye, and I looked at her. I was like, how are you so mean to me when your whole economy of everything you're doing is based off what my family and my ancestors created? If we weren't shit and you were the what you think you are, you'll be playing that old bullshit ass sukiyaki music that come from your homeland. But don't nobody want to hear that. You can't sell that shit here in America because it's whack. As a matter of fact, you don't even like it. So you built a whole program where y'all getting all these millions of dollars in donations based off our music, and you got the nerve to treat the descendants of that lineage like shit? Fuck you. Fuck you. And that's the stance we have to take. That's the stance we have to take. People want to give all these credits to these, and black folks be the main ones. Be want to throw Eminem's name out there first when it comes to hip hop. You dummy ass nigga. I don't give a fuck how many records Eminem sold. He ain't in my top 50. He didn't get popping until he was teamed with Dr. Dre. The Dr. Dre whose sound became popular because it was a hip hop sampling of George Clinton. Cats want to bring up DJ Khaled. Fuck out of here. He don't even make no goddamn music. He take other people's music and throw his sorry ass name on top. We gotta claim it. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, and this is not even because this is family. Ain't not one of these others, not one, not a single one. You can bring up Scott Storch. You can bring up Khalid or any of these other half-breed or all the way other breed producers. Cannot one of them touch James Carmichael. Not one. That man hasn't arranged a song in almost 30 years and this shit's still getting taken. When I hear how my father-in-law can layer a song with those string arrangements, and this thing about it, they comparing these white boys to the people back in the day. My father-in-law told me how he put together a song. I'm like, whoa, can't nobody match that shit now. He wrote the music for Keep On Truckin' by, what's his name from The Temptations? Eddie Kendricks. When you listen to I'll Be There by the Jackson 5, that's him. That slow build, that crescendo, those strings thinly layered underneath. Wrote that shit by hand. Had an idea in his mind. Had to pull out pencil and paper to write each one of those notes. Each violin, each oboe, each trumpet, bass. That was written out by hand. There was no auto-tune to fix the note. When he used to work with a young Michael Jackson, with a young Lionel Richie, there was nothing that you can put into a computer for the note to hit. They had to go over these notes over again. Sometimes he'd be with Michael all day, 6-7 hours on getting one note right. And y'all want to compare that to a nigga pushing a button who ain't even from the culture? Get the fuck out of here. Kiss my ass twice. 3 times on Sunday. What's up, Tasha, in the chat room? Look, man, this man, Mr. James Carmichael, put together and arranged the song Zoom. Is there a better song ever put together than Zoom? I'd like to fly away. Zoom, zoom. Zoom. I'd like to fly away. You hear those string arrangements? That shit was written by pencil. That shit was written on pencil and paper. Brick House. Written on pencil and paper. All Night Long by Lionel Richie. He told me he had over 100 musicians come through the studio to record all night long. One bass player ain't playing the right field, you got to bring in another bass player. That bass player ain't playing it right, you got to bring in another one. Oh, this drummer ain't giving you the feel that I want, you got to bring in another one. You don't compare somebody who wrote that big ass sound on pencil and paper over a motherfucker that sample. We got so many black producers that don't even get mentioned. Y'all want to put Scott Storch above them? What about Paul Reiser from Motown, who arranged a lot of the Tina Marie stuff? Portuguese Love? You gonna put them over Isaac Hayes and Porter? Over Maurice White? Are you niggas crazy? Over Gamble and Huff? Over Greg Fillinganes? Greg Fillinganes is the most recorded artist in American music history. Greg Fillinganes has appeared on more music than any other artist in American history. And 95% of black people don't know who Greg Gaines is. Greg Gaines can play any sound you want him to play. Any feel you want him to play. Greg Gaines. We have to celebrate our shit, people. Because the reason why other groups come in and do what they do and take what they take is because we don't claim ownership. We allow these jackasses to do what they do. We allow it. We allow it because we don't appreciate our stuff. We as a people have got to start appreciating our shit. We gotta, what's the old saying? I can show you better than I can tell you. Well, we gotta show it. We have to show it. It was like, I'll be laughing at my wife. She be having all kind of stories. She told me this one. She probably get mad at me for telling the story. But she used to see everybody come over her house when she was a kid. She told me a story when she was like 4 or 5 years old. When Babyface used to come by the house and work with her dad on some music. She remembers looking at Babyface when he was like 5 years old thinking like, man, I don't think he gonna make it. Because Babyface was so shy. He was that dude that was shy when speaking to children. And she was like, how is this dude gonna ever be a star when he's scared to talk to me? And I'm only 5. Oh, Ivy had me dying laughing. She got stories of taking a Grammy to school for show and tell. A real Grammy. I think it's the one he won for, I forgot which Grammy it was. He won a few Grammys. But she used to take his Grammys to school for show and tell. Off our music. Yet we have all of these people that come in and don't appreciate our music. These people that don't fuck with us, but love our music. We gotta stop this shit, people. We don't stop it by stopping them. They gonna keep doing what they do. We stop what they're doing by standing up for ourselves. Nobody can ride your back if you're standing up. Yeah, I wear a lot of Jimi Hendrix gear too. Positive influence. I got a few Jimi Hendrix shirts. We gotta remember where the shit come from. And we gotta own and claim it. Because we're always quick to create something, then move on. And then when other groups come and try to take it, then we want to get mad. That's not the time to get mad. We got to own this shit from the beginning. because it's black music. Like, think about this. I was thinking about this the other day. I don't know how it is in your town, but here in LA, you'd be hard pressed to find a black DJ on radio other than KJLH. That's Stevie Wonder's channel. But when you listen to Power 106, a so-called hip-hop station, all the DJs are Latino. When you listen to 88.1 K-Jazz, all the DJs are either white or Latino. These motherfuckers don't even want to hire us to DJ our own music. Can you think of anywhere in society where black people would get treated with the same reverence? Can a black person go to Mexico and be the only people DJing Mexican music? Can a black person, or can there be 5 or 6 black DJs at a country western radio station? Serious question. They take and eat off our shit and they don't reciprocate. We are so loving and giving as a people. I'm telling y'all right now, if you do have black DJs in your station, in your city, as your city opens up these borders for more immigration, you ain't gonna have DJs for long. I'll give you 10 years, nigga. Before your radio stations are gentrified. It just happens in LA first. It's coming to y'all too. We give so much as a people and receive so little in return. Hold on one second. I got to answer this. Sorry for the quick break. I had to answer that call. It was real quick. But we have to stand up and speak for ourselves. Because no one's going to do it for us. I appreciate the Cash App, Kelvin. I appreciate that Cash App donation. We have to stand up and do it for ourselves because these people are in all-out war against us, man. But they war is using our soundtrack. The way we dress, the way we talk, the way we walk. These other groups don't reciprocate. Now you got the LGBTQ people claiming Black Music Month now as Pride Month. Using a rainbow flag that black people created, the Black Panthers created, as a symbol of unity. There is no end to what they take from us. There is no end to how much they shit on us. You're right, Bug Sheldon. The Communications Act, that was the 1990, what destroyed radio was the 1996 Telecommunications Act signed by liberal Bill Clinton. How did black music devolve? How does it fall out? Well, let me tell you. The music in the background that was put together by another foundational black American, Mr. Duncan Pender Hughes from Craig Facts. Paxton Howard asks, who's the music playing in the background? That's my man Duncan. Foundational black American. How did the music devolve? I did a full breakdown on this about a year ago on this station, maybe a little year and a half ago. But in 1978, there was something called the White Paper Report. It's where there was the Harvard study done at Columbia that was done between Harvard and Columbia University, commissioned by CBS Records, and they wanted to understand how do they control black music? The shit's getting too goddamn good and white folks can't keep up. So in 1978, they had something called the White Paper Report. The White Paper Report basically said, what we're going to do is we're going to take the top black music producers, take them from their bands, and match them with white artists. Why? Because although the people think the artist that you see is the reason why you like the song, most of the time the singer is just the person delivering the message. It's the producer that makes a song a hit. It's really the production. That's why Justin Timberlake and Robin Thicke can come and make good black music, because they got black people putting together the music. They're just the ones singing what those black folks direct them to sing. So if you want to destroy the music, you got to take the producers away from the talent. They take Maurice White from Earth and Fire, and they take them from the Emotions and match him with Barbra Streisand. They take Gamblin' Huff from the Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes and the Philadelphia sound and match them with white artists. They take the top producers and put them with white artists. So now your black acts no longer have a production using the top producers and top musicians. They kept that control through the 80s and 90s through budgets. If black artists get signed, their budget wouldn't be enough to afford someone like Maurice White or Gamblin' Huff to do their song. Now they're having to bet on somebody new. Thank God Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis came. But that's what they did. They also, in the White Paper Report, said we're going to take all live instrumentation out, but we're going to do it slowly. Because live instrumentation speaks to your soul. Guitar strings. What do they call it when someone pulls your heart? They pull your heart strings, right? The organ. What's inside of your body? Organs. You take away the live drums. What are live drums? The beat. What beats inside of your body? The heart. They took away the horns, the wind, and they took away the strings. That's the emotion. The strings give music life. I was talking to my father-in-law about this because, again, I told you, Mr. Carmichael, to me, has some of the greatest string arrangements ever. And he talked about when he wrote his string arrangements, he really was writing his music to heal. And healing is what he did when you listen to his strings. It's very few things more healing than a James Carmichael string arrangement. They took those elements out of our music on purpose. They used Clive Davis to do it. Clive Davis was a plant that would then go around teaming and moving and shuffling people around. That was done on purpose. To take our sound. And it's funny too, because there's a story, my father-in-law, because I first heard about this white paper report from Dick Gregory on Brother Ron's channel. Dick Gregory talked about this. That's where I first heard about it, from Dick Gregory. So about 10 years ago, I asked my father-in-law, I was like, have you ever heard of that white paper report where they basically destroyed black music? And you know what he said? He said, I think it was 1982 or 83. He was in the studio with Lionel Richie, and Dick Gregory came down to Motown to the studio, and he started passing these white papers out to everybody. Because Dick Gregory said they're trying to kill him. If he's the only person with this information, they're going to kill him. So Dick Gregory had photocopies of this white paper report, and he passed it to everybody he knew. Because Dick Gregory said, if everybody got it, they can no longer just target me. And he said when he got that white paper report, he did not want to see that. He was like, oh, this is some shit right here. I don't want to get fucked up. He basically took it and brought it home, and they read through it for a little bit. Then they got rid of that shit. He was like, man, look, if Dick Gregory trying to get rid of the shit, I don't want to get caught up with it. But he basically told me, yeah, he saw it. But he didn't think anything of it at the time. It was just like, okay, what is this? 40 years later, we see what happened. So what I'm saying is not my conjecture. I spoke to people who were actually there. Our music was taken from us. The same thing happened in 1993 with hip hop. When they started pushing artists to release degenerate music, not releasing the conscious music. Too Short talked about that in an interview back in 2008. I can't find the link right now. Oh man, I could. Man, I'm trying to look for it right now, but I shouldn't do this shit before. Let me see if I can find. Nah, I ain't gonna. I'll take forever to look for this shit. I should have had this shit already pulled up. But y'all can look this shit up. It was an interview Too Short did, I think like in 2008 with Vibe magazine, where he goes in and talking about how he was instructed to release as many cuss songs as he could. And when he asked about, okay, what about when he asked, okay, what about the conscious music? They're like, no, you can put that on the next album. And they kept pushing his conscious music off for the next album. Never getting a chance to actually release that music. Goes and shows that where we are right now with hip hop basically not talking about shit on radio, that was encouraged by the record executives. And this is before Spotify, this is before iTunes. The only way you're going to get your music played was through the radio. The only way it's going to get released was through the record company. So you can say what you want to say. If the record company says we're not going to release this project, they're not going to release the project. We as a people, we've been fucked over. We don't understand how much we've been fucked over and continue to get fucked over. I don't even talk about Candace Owens is from the Caribbean, so she's irrelevant in this conversation. Doesn't matter what she says. She's a Caribbean immigrant. She has no claim to our shit. And Candace Owens speaks for her paymasters. We know Candace Owens and these coons are going to say what they got to say. That's why I don't focus on them and what they do. I focus on us and what we need to do. We need to shout on top, loud as we can, what we've done and what we continue to do. And we need to own it and we need to claim it. And anytime you hear another black person saying, man, well, it was some Caribbeans and some Jamaicans that helped start hip hop, slap their ass. Question. You build a house. You laid the foundation. You bought the material with your labor. You built it. You designed it. You did everything to build the house. Somebody else comes in after you've built the house and they say, oh, I like this house. Let me go ahead. I'll buy you a table for the house. My housewarming gift for you is a kitchen table. That's going to be my housewarming gift to you. And you'd be like, no doubt, thank you. And then 30 years later, the person that bought you that kitchen table for your housewarming gifts says, I remember, I helped you build that house. Remember that table I bought? Yeah, your house would have been built if I hadn't bought you that table. That's the equivalent of these Caribbeans coming in saying that they built the house of hip hop. Nigga, you bought a table as a housewarming gift. Thank you. But that table was coming whether you brought it or we created it. We didn't need you to build the house. We didn't need you to bring that table. Thank you for the table. I'm not going to shit on you. But I got to put you back in check. Because this ain't your house, motherfucker. Get your feet off the table. Matter of fact. Sit up straight. You a guest. No, you don't get to go to the refrigerator. If you want some water, ask me. I'll get it for you. You a guest in my house, nigga. You don't get to lay claim to this house because you bought a housewarming gift 30 years ago. The fuck out of here. The fuck out of here. You don't get to lay claim to a house that you just bought a housewarming gift to. Y'all see my t-shirts. Get the t-shirts. I have a new mount. I have a new shirt that I'm coming with my incense and ashtrays, talking about some music t-shirts coming. I got a few more t-shirt designs along the way. But in the meantime, that's why Dr. John Henry, my favorite shirt. I like all my shirts. But my shirt with Dr. John Henry Clark says it best. Black people don't owe anybody anything but an ass whooping. You right, Star. Take your shoes off at the door when you at our house, bitch. Because here's what you do. If a Caribbean says they created hip hop, ask them, okay, well, where's the Caribbean style of hip hop? Where's the Caribbean sound? And don't say New York. Because if you created it, I should be able to hear that sound in your island where you come from. I should be able to see a build up to that sound on your island. Because you ever notice you have a New York style of hip hop, you got a New Orleans style, you got an Atlanta sound of hip hop, you got a West Coast sound. Where's the Puerto Rico sound? I'll wait. Where's the Jamaican sound? Busta Rhymes. I'll wait. Since you want to talk about that Jamaican shit, Busta Rhymes. These motherfuckers just go ahead and claim and say shit, then run away. Can't prove nothing. Busta Rhymes talking about something, man, it is Caribbean. If you don't shut your clown ass up, nigga. Giving away our shit. And then they want to say, well, we all African. We all come from Africa. Shut the fuck up. Shut that shit up right now. You motherfuckers don't ever want to claim African until it's time to steal our shit. Any other time, oh, I Spanish. We come from Europe. We're Spanish. Oh, black music's on table? Oh, now you African. Fuck out of here. And on top of that, the African sound is different than the American black sound. The foundation of black American sound is its own sound. The drum set, kick drum, snare, hi-hat, that comes from here. There were no drum sets in Europe and in Africa and in the Caribbean. Caribbean drums is timbales, a snare, and congos, and a whole bunch of shakers and shit with somebody standing up. The Mexican sound uses the tuba as a bass, not a bass guitar. There are no electric guitars that got imported from Africa. We created that here. Black folks not only created the music, we created the instruments that play a key piece in the music. Electric bass guitar. Show me anywhere else in the world that was playing the electric bass in the 1950s and 60s. They started playing that after we did. Just the instrumentation setup alone is unique to us and only us. Hell, even when you look at black folks, we can go so far as when you talk about Bob Marley and the Wailers getting their sound from us. We don't do it, but we can lay claim to it if we really wanted to. Get up, stand up for your rights. That ain't nothing but the vamp on Slipping Into Darkness by War, Compton, California. Slipping into darkness. Dun 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 dun. Well, ain't that Slipping Into Darkness by Bob Marley? Get up, stand up for your rights. Dun 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 dun. So if Busta Rhymes want to push you with that Jamaican shit, we can infringe on your territory And we can infringe on it really hard. But Black Americans got so much dope shit here, we ain't got no reason to. We ain't got no reason to infringe on they shit, even though we're the influence of it, according to Bob Marley's words himself, who grew up listening to Motown. We better claim our shit. Black Music Month. Be proud. Be proud. Be fearless with expressing your pride. Because that's who we are. You dig? Don't let nobody take our shit. Yeah, the Jamaican greats, all of the greats acknowledge R&B as their influences. This is a conversation I'd rather not have. I'd rather not have a conversation where I'm sort of talking a little about other groups, but I have to have this conversation because other groups are trying to take our shit. And me being the musician that I am, this shit's literally blood when it comes to me. My grandmother, my mom's mom, I didn't find this story out till this past January because my grandmother, my mom's mom, died when my mom was only a month old. What I found out from my aunt, who's still alive, what I found out was before she passed away, my grandmother was supposed to go on tours with the Platters. After she had my mom, she was going to go on tour with the Platters. Then she got pregnant with my mom. And died a month later. So she never got a chance to go on that tour. The Platters being one of the early great doo-wop bands in American music history. So when it comes to Black American music, this is blood for me. This is blood. I didn't find that out till this past January that my grandmother was supposed to go on tour. She was with the Platters right when they started. And she was going to sing backup. If you can't claim that lineage in your family history from another country, from whatever island you come from, be humble and be thankful that Black Americans don't be on no ego shit and we allowed you a seat at our table. We got to stand up, black folks. We can't let them kick us in the ass anymore. We got to own it. If somebody's trolling, you can kick them out. We ain't got time for trolls in here. So yeah, that's basically what I wanted to say for today. What y'all talking about? I'm gonna get off here in a little bit. What y'all talking about in the comment section? Let me see what y'all talking about in the comment section. Yeah, somebody said, the Jamaican greats acknowledge? Yes, they do. The world acknowledges our contributions. It's the last 10 years. It's only been the last 10 years that you've been seeing these others come and try to lay claim to our shit. That's only been in the last 10 years. Before that, everyone told the truth. You watch any documentary before 2010, they told the truth. It was after 2010 when they started pushing this agenda more, and these other groups started getting more and more notoriety. Yeah, thank you, Star. Yeah, get my subscribe to Incense and Ashtrays on Spotify. I'm about to start doing some more stuff on that over there on Spotify. Some more stuff unique to Spotify, because over on Spotify I can actually play music when I talk music. Y'all see the show Incense and Ashtrays? Also, while you're at it, get my go to my Incense and Ashtrays playlist. My funk soul list for the greatest and best funk and soul music. And coming soon, someone asked me this last week, and I told them I have it up this week, but I've just been so goddamn busy. I'm going to have this up really soon. My Incense and Ashtray Soul Jazz playlist, where I'm going to have soul music and jazz on one list. Some shit you can relax and mellow out to. Roy Ayers, Erykah Badu, Oscar Peterson, The Internet, Thundercat. That's what's going to be on this list. Jarvis Mosey, The Whispers. That's what's going to be on my soul jazz list. Gladys Knight and the Pips. Well, no. That's Gladys Knight and the Pips is on funk soul. Soul jazz is going to be more Erykah Badu, Jill Scott, Anthony Hamilton, Terrace Martin, Robert Glasper, Roy Hargrove. And my funk soul list is Funkadelic, Parliament, Earth and Fire. Go subscribe to both of those playlists on Spotify. I'm going to put one up on iTunes also, but right now, for the most part, I was focusing on Spotify because Spotify, again, they allow me to actually play the music when I go on and talk about the music. Celebrating black music on my playlist. So we got the funk soul playlist up and running right now. The soul jazz list is going to be coming to you real soon. So please subscribe. And also get my live drum sample packs. Links in my Linktree description bar. You're right, Bug Sheldon. People just don't know what Blacks from America created. Yes, Mark by Smith, the Whispers are from LA, and so is Rolls Royce. You abandoned me. Love don't live here anymore. You're right, Taylor Drake. The most popular rappers and artists out now are non-FBA. That's because the music industry is doing what they can to get black people to replace black people. They try like hell to make white folks take over hip-hop, but hip-hop was a little bit too complicated. They could only get one that was halfway decent, and that was Eminem. He was the extreme exception of an exception. So since they can't get them, they get these people with very little talent like Rihanna, and they put in Cardi B, and they put them as the face of our music. But it's also no coincidence that the quality of that music sucks. The quality of that music flat out sucks. When you put it next to a Barry White arrangement, when you put it next to a Shaka Khan vocal, when you put it next to Al Green or Marvin Gaye's soul, all that shit sucks that get played on the radio. You can't play Bruno Mars in an environment that the Gap Band exists in. Bruno Mars wouldn't have lasted in the early 80s or the 70s. You'd be like, who the fuck is this dude? But since that sound isn't allowed to be played anymore by us, you can get us to, and I'm not shitting on Bruno Mars. I like a little bit of what he does. I'm more of an Anderson .Paak guy. But these guys can't exist in an environment that our music is promoted on an equal footing. So what do? They omit, like I always talk about lies of omission. They omit the Black American music talent from the whole thing. It takes at least $200,000 a month for your album to go #1. That's in payola to DJs and also payola to these streaming services. Take about $200,000 a month for you to have a top 10 hit in promotion. No up-and-coming artist has that kind of a budget. Hell, most established artists don't have that kind of a budget. So they put that budget behind people with half the talent that look like us that aren't from here. And the music sucks because their native sound is calypso. Their native sound is some other shit, not soul. So they omit the creators of the sound and give us an environment with all these other people who look like us. Remember that. But I'm about to get up out of here because I have a long day today. A very long day today. I'm going to be in my bag later on, having a good time. Doing what I do. Chilling with my wife, having fun. I know I said I'm going to do more relationship talks on Sunday. I want y'all to email me some topics. Hotepish@gmail.com. Email me some relationship topics y'all want me to cover in the future. Email me some other topics y'all want me to cover. Leave a comment after the video with some future topics. And please, after the video, write some comments over what you heard in here. Helps the algorithm. Tell me what you like that I said. Tell me what you don't like. BreakthroughAS.org. For all my relationship coaching, go there. But please, as I sign off today, remember this. There are no perfect messengers. Only perfect messages for those who are willing to pick up the game. My name is Dwan B. We out.